Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Turf Today on the Superintendent Network, proudly brought to you by Toro. I'm Adam Courchaine alongside Brian Laurent, and today we've got a great episode lined up for you. This week, we take you to the rugged coastlines of Northern Ireland for a special conversation with Graeme Beatt, the course manager at Royal Portrush and the host of this year's Open Championship. We dive into everything from tournament prep and course conditions to Graeme's incredible career and journey in the turf industry. If you've ever wondered what it takes to get a championship course ready for the world stage, this episode is for you. So stick around, and as always, if you like what you hear, share it with your friends, coworkers, and everyone in the turf community. All right, let's get into this. Turf Today is proudly brought to you by Toro. Toro helps you maximize efficiency with autonomous options for mowing and more, freeing up your staff for other duties. Take the GeoLink Autonomous Fairway Mower. It builds on the proven e-Triflex platform to combine trusted performance with advanced autonomous tech. There's also the Turf Pro for roughs, capable of handling up to 18.5 acres. And don't forget about the Range Pro for ball collection. Learn more at toro.com/golf/autonomous. Toro, always solving, always evolving.
Beautiful.
Coming in fresh. I figured we had to go all green this week. Even got my little M on there, you know? Don't have any memorial swag, but I figured I'd go with the green.
Yeah, looking good. I like it. Yeah,
I was half expecting you to be at the course, but I guess you do live pretty close to Muirfield, right? So it's not too bad to go back and forth.
Yeah, I'm like 7 minutes away. So they wrapped up, most of the crew wrapped up around between 7 and 7:30.
Okay.
And then they go in, grab some breakfast, hang out, wait to be dismissed. And yeah, so I wrapped up, got home, changed real quick, laid down for 5 minutes, and then scrambled. Couldn't remember which suitcase I had my microphone in, so I had to try and track that down.
Non-stop, eh?
Yeah, good
Seems like
times.
there's been a lot of really good coverage from over there, though. Like the course is looking so good.
Yeah, it's always in great shape. I think the guys on tour will tell you it's historically one of the most consistent, better prepared golf courses. It's always in great shape. I mean, hosting an event every year is a huge advantage, I think, because it's rinse and repeat for the most part every year. Not a ton of changes. A lot of similar volunteers that come back for the event. Chad's got a very seasoned staff, two superintendents or assistants that have been there for many years, interns, AITs, all that kind of stuff that have been there for a long time. So, I mean, they all kind of know the drill. And so they just, once tournament week comes around, everything's dialed in and it's time to roll.
Yeah.
So.
I've been getting a bunch of messages, people saying, yeah, I met Brian, or yeah, I was on camera and stuff. So that's gotta be cool.
Yeah, no, it's been great. It's been nice having a lot of guys come up and introduce themselves and talk about, the podcast and everything. And just talk to Jonathan from Boot Ranch. He's like, I listened to you guys and decided I wanted to go and find a good mentor and have that person kind of help me find my path and all that stuff. So, it's been really cool. A lot of people coming up saying, yeah, watch you, listen to you, all that fun stuff. So it's always rewarding to hear that feedback.
Yeah, no, it's huge. And I also saw you posted a picture of Jack getting to talk to the crew. That must have been amazing.
Yeah, it was cool. It was a bit of a surprise. So they started out with Mr. Logan, who's a member there, played football for Woody Hayes, legendary football coach, and gave an unbelievable speech to the team, talking a lot about teamwork and how each individual plays, their own piece in the overall puzzle of a team. And then once he wrapped up, Mr. Nicholas walked in and, talked to everybody. And I won't mention exactly what he said, but it was pretty funny the way he came out of the gates. But yeah, really, really neat experience to have the greatest golfer of all time just walk in and say, hey.
Yeah, that is really special. I was wondering if that's kind of something he did every year, just because it's sort of, his place, his tournament. But yeah, that's special for the crew to get to have that. Especially, was it early in the morning too? Guys just sort of waking up, or was that after one of the shifts?
Yeah, no, it was Sunday afternoon of the volunteer um orientation.
Okay,
So we
perfect
were
time then.
yeah, I mean, I think everyone, I can't remember the exact timing. I think it was right when we were all just kind of meeting and coming together. And yeah, I can't remember if it was after we went out for assignments or not, but I think it was before everyone kind of went out. So yeah, it was just yeah, he does not come down every year.
No,
Um, in the probably decade, the last I've probably been doing it. When Paul Latshaw was there, I started going out, and I think maybe this is the second or third time I've actually seen him. Um, so yeah, no, it's pretty special.
love it. What about the
Yeah.
milkshakes? You get one this year?
No, no, we don't get a ton of access to the milkshakes
Ah,
down at the
damn.
maintenance facility.
They should do that for you guys, at least do one day where they bring a bunch down or something.
We've got plenty of goodies down there, though. I mean,
No,
we've
that's
got a
good.
yeah freezer full of ice cream and all the sodas and waters you can drink and coffee and Buckeye donuts, you name it.
Graham, how
Hi
are you?
guys. Good, thanks. Good, thanks. How are you?
Not too bad, thank you. How's the day going?
Yeah, good. Bit busy, but yeah, going well, thanks.
Yeah, you're winding down over there,
Yeah.
huh? Something like that. You're probably there. Are you a sun up to sundown kind of guy over there, or what's your typical schedule like?
Not always. It just depends. I suppose we've got so many committee members and council members and things that generally get kind of pulled around to different meetings for lots of different subjects and topics and stuff. So it's always interesting, but it's kind of pretty busy.
That's awesome. Well, you guys are about a month and a half away. Are you really starting to ramp things up right now for preparations?
And we are, yeah. The infrastructure's absolutely flying up. It's amazing how quickly the build goes. So most of the sort of bigger work's done on that side. And then I suppose from a golf course side, we're starting to just fine tune things now. Um, we've only really just started getting, proper amount of growth. We had quite a long winter and then a really dry spring. So that's kind of put us back 2 or 3 weeks. So it's only now that we're starting to really kind of refine the surfaces down. Because we've had no growth, the greens have been absolutely flying. So normally here, because it's windy and the greens are pretty slopey, we would normally keep them around 9.5 feet on the stimp. And they've been kind of high tens into 11 feet.
Oof.
Yeah, it's pretty quick, especially if it's breezy. So yeah, I had I stimped the third green last week at 11 foot 5, which was like our fastest green speed reading ever. Like some of the guys in the States would laugh at that, but our greens are like it gets really windy and our greens are pretty slopey as well. Some of them would slope off into really deep bunkers and that sort of thing. So it just makes for slow play as well, the quicker they are.
You got to
So
keep
that
the ball below the hole out there then.
Yeah. So, well, we've had a lot of rain in the last few days, so we've started to get a bit more growth. So the grain speeds have tailed off a bit, which is no bad thing, really. But
So before we get too deep into this, Graham, why don't you go ahead and just give us a quick introduction of yourself?
okay, my name's Graeme Beatt. I'm course manager at Royal Portrush Golf Club. Um, we have two courses, the Dunluce and the Valley, both championship courses, but the Open's held on the Dunluce course.
So what about growing up? Where I know we read in your bio you were a little bit of a golfer, and you grew up in Fife. Is that right?
Yeah, I grew up Newport on Tay was where I was sort of raised. So it's like 10 miles from St Andrews.
Wow.
So uh,
What a place to
did
grow
my,
up.
yeah, not too bad. Did my schooling in St Andrews and just yeah, grew up with golf, playing a lot of golf and playing a lot of football or soccer. Um, and I suppose growing up, I kind of wanted to either be a footballer or a golfer. So but I just kind of loved the outdoors, and I got a summer job on the local course, and just kind of fell in love with it, I suppose. So that's my story, really.
So how advanced did you get in the game of golf from a playing standpoint? Did you play in any amateur stuff or just were
Yeah,
the Saturday hacker out there?
yeah, kind of. I played. I suppose I played a lot of golf until I was like 15, 16, and then did my summer jobs, and then just kind of got into the job more. And the more I got into the job, the less I played golf.
Classic.
Like
It's crazy how
like
that
most.
works.
So, but no, still enjoy a game of golf, but it's just a bit of fun, really. I wouldn't say I'm that good at it.
Well, it's all about being out there for the enjoyment of it all.
Yeah, exactly.
Talk to us about the experience of your first job, your first golf course that you worked at. What was that like? Any good memories from then?
Yeah, so I suppose my first summer job was on my local course, which was Scott's Craig Golf Club. So yeah, kind of between school, I'd got a job over the summer, and then my first summer there, we had the final qualifying for the Open at St Andrews in 1995. So that was kind of my first little taste of tournament, I suppose, even though it was small scale. It was still sort of pretty exciting. And then, yeah, after my first summer, I decided this was what I was going to do. So I enrolled in my local college, which was Elmwood. So that's in Cooper, kind of near St Andrews as well. Um, and I did a year full time, and then I got a full time job then at Scots Craig. And then after a year, I think I went back to college and just I've kind of done all my schooling after that, just as I was working. So it'd be sort of studying evenings and weekends and that sort of thing.
How'd you find your way to Royal Portrush?
Uh, I suppose I worked sort of five or 6 years at Scots Craig, and then Kings Barnes was being built at the time. And my college lecturer, who was a really good guy, Paul Miller, he'd said to me about Kings Barnes were looking for greenkeepers. So I'd got the job in there. What would it have been? Might have been 20, 21, 21 maybe. Um, and they were still in construction. So that was a brilliant experience for me, kind of doing the grow in there. And then I suppose quite quickly we were opening. So we were still doing construction in the January 2000 through to July 2000, the day before our opening day. We opened the same week as the Open was held at St Andrews. So that was a really good experience. That was pretty sort of intense at that time. And we hosted some tournaments and stuff, and I went off to Royal Melbourne and worked there for just a season. Um, and then I came back to Kings Barnes, and I just decided I sort of wanted to kind of move around again. And I'd seen a job in Ireland and moved to Sligo down the west coast of Ireland. Um, and I was there for like 8 years. And then the job came up in Portrush, and I just thought I have to apply for it. Um, Probably didn't necessarily think I would get it, but kind of went through the interview process and worked hard on that. And yeah, lucky enough to get the job.
Did you know at the time interviewing for all that the course would be hosting the Open?
Yeah, it sort of been publicised at the time that the course was being considered for the Open, but it was nearly a done deal. But there was pretty major changes to happen in order for the course to actually be able to host the event with the amount of people that would be sort of you would need to get around the course and all the infrastructure, the space made for that. Um, so that was like really exciting, pretty daunting, I suppose, coming in and into like an amazing venue anyway that's hosted loads of tournament golf and ripping it up after about 6 months. So that was, yeah, that was pretty daunting, really, but at the same time, what an amazing experience. Um, so yeah, we did a big construction job from July 2015 until, yeah, I think the construction didn't really finish until the May of the Open, 2019. So I think it was about the 14th of May or something. We sort of finished up laying turf and the diggers left. So it was pretty busy few years, and then straight into an Open Championship. I don't know if that's kind of normal or not, but it sort of yeah, pretty intense really, but brilliant experience. It was amazing.
So where are you guys now as far as the build out and all that? You have all the grandstands up and all the other infrastructure pretty much in place by now?
Yeah, most of the grandstands are up. The TV towers are going up at the moment. Um, all the big structures are up. The players' clubhouse, the open shop, and a lot of the hospitality areas are up. Um, so yeah, all the big stuff's just about finished, and they're starting to dress up the grandstands with all the hoardings around them, and yeah, it looks pretty good at the moment.
Are we going to see any big changes at all from 2019?
No, a few small changes, and bits that most spectators probably wouldn't really notice. We changed a little bit in the first green. Kind of the front quarter on the left has changed, and there's a pin position there now. It used to be there's I don't know if you know the first hole that you play up to the green. The green sits maybe 30, 40 feet above the fairway, and then there's a huge runoff at the front into this really deep bunker. And it was, I suppose it was, sometimes we would put a pin front left, but it was usually on the Monday just for the members. Um, they wouldn't have done it for the Open, so we've kind of flattened that corner off a little bit for a pin position for the Open. If it's really windy, they won't use it. I don't think. It would have to be quite calm conditions. We built a new championship tee on the fourth, so it's like 25 yards longer. Same on the seventh. We've extended that, so it's 606 yards now. And then the seventh green, we kind of softened off some of the undulations. They were a little bit sharp in places. So that's kind of softer contours, and it blends in better with the other greens, I think. But most of the change on the Dunluce was really for hospitality, um, creating bigger spectator spaces, catering spaces, and sort of places for people to mingle around. So we've gone from, I think at the time we were the second biggest crowds they'd ever had at an Open. It was 235,000 people in around that.
Oh,
This time will be 278,000, and like way more corporate hospitality. We had 7,000 people for corporate hospitality for the last Open. This time we'll have 20,000. That's
Holy
big
moly.
change.
yeah. I wonder how
Yeah,
much of that is the Rory effect too, right? Like we saw that the big boom with Tiger in the States years ago. I wonder if Rory's had a little bit more of an impact and really growing the game over there.
I think so. I think so. And like the crowds the last time, the atmosphere, it didn't feel like a golf tournament. It was really loud. I'm sort of hoping to see that again, and I think we will. And hopefully Rory has a better first round than the last time.
Yeah.
So as
um,
a historic golf course, established in the 1800s and all these championships, top 10 golf course in the world. What does that do to you personally, emotionally? Do you feel some added pressure to maintain the history and tradition of the golf course, or is it, for you, you just kind of show up and do your thing? What's that feeling like?
Um, I don't know. I suppose we just do our thing, really. And we'd have quite close relationship with the members, um, and they would always keep you pretty grounded. So they would always find something where it could be improved upon, which is good. So I suppose generally speaking, season to season, we always try and present it like we would for an open anyway. For visitors, people travel in to play the course. It might be the only time they ever get to play it. So it's kind of, I suppose there's a little bit of pressure all the time to make sure that it's sort of lives up to expectation and all that sort of thing. But it's a lovely place to work, and we've got a nice membership, and it's nice seeing visitors coming to play the course and hearing what they have to say and seeing people out enjoying it. So that's like really rewarding.
From increased traffic to scorching heat, summer conditions can put your most valuable turf to the test. The combination of Contact DG 18918 and Fulltech LQ See-Through from the Andersons delivers premium nutrition, improves root structure, and strengthens overall stress tolerance. From the ground up, this duo builds strong, resilient turf ready for the challenges of the season. To learn more, visit andersonspro.com/beattheheat.
And shifting from the course to your crew, with the course being that historic and that much tradition, is there anything that the crew, you guys do that's kind of unique there to kind of keep that tradition going, or any camaraderie stuff that you guys do at the shop, kind of, a little bit more unique than some of the other places?
Our mechanic's really good at barbecuing.
There you go. There you go.
My kind of guy. I love it.
Yeah. So he's barbecuing in his boiler suit, covered in oil.
Oh my gosh.
We do that quite regularly, and I think we've got a pretty happy team. Like, we've got a good group of people, and everyone gets on, and they always have a good laugh, and they're not frightened to give each other a lot of stick if someone's done something wrong, or well, anything really, any opportunity. That usually creates a bit of a laugh, so that's good. So yeah, it's a good atmosphere.
How big is your team?
There's 30 of us. So I suppose years ago, it used to be that nearly all of the team would have gone out to the Dunluce course and set that up. And once that was done, then they would go to the valley and they would do all their bits and pieces on the valley. But it's different now. Both courses are really busy. We wouldn't have a huge amount of golf in the winter. So that allows us to do a lot of bits of construction and renovations and all that sort of stuff. But in the summer, both courses are really busy. So we kind of need a full squad out on each course to make sure that they're sort of presented the way they should be, both courses.
What's your staff going to look like? Staff and volunteers going to look like for the championship? Are you bringing in a lot of extra hands?
Not that many. We'll have 47 people in total.
Oh, okay.
Which I suppose the R&A have a real focus on sustainability, and we have the last few years as well. And we're trying to, I suppose, in some ways, keep the numbers down the best we can, but still present the golf course the way that it should be presented for an Open Championship. The last Open, we had 58 people. And we probably, because it was our first modern day Open, we kind of tried to allow for any scenario, and we probably had a few too many. And then the experience for some of the volunteers probably wasn't as good as it could have been, just because, we had excess staff really, or excess volunteers. So sort of hoping this time we've sort of nailed it with the staff numbers really.
A little more quality over quantity then, I guess. Make sure everything's taken care of.
Yeah, hopefully. And we've changed things a little bit too. In 2019, we hand mowed the greens. So we had 12 people hand mowing. And this time we're going to mow them with triplex. We'll ped mow the perimeters with the lithium hand mowers, and then we'll use the lithium 3370s on the greens. So the main area of the greens will be cut with the triplex, and then the perimeters of the greens will be hand mowed.
Interesting.
That chops it down a fair bit. We've gone some sort of from 12 people on the greens to 7. But we feel like the quality of cut that you get with the triplex now is night and day compared to what it used to be. And the fact that there's no hydraulic oil as well has just made a huge difference.
Yeah, technology's come a long way. It's pretty incredible. You mentioned earlier about some of the green speeds. Is that something, is the RNA out there making regular visits? So you're working with someone to, in preparation of it to game plan for course conditions, course setup, and all that kind of stuff?
There's the RNA agronomy team, but then there's the RNA rules guys as well, who kind of take care of a lot of the setup. So hole locations, tee marker locations, and all that sort of stuff. So we kind of work closely with all of them. I think our average green speed for the last Open was 10'3", which is not quick, but the weather wasn't good. It was windy and it was wet, and I think this time, we'd bump up the speeds a little bit. And I suppose depending on the weather forecast, if it's not going to be windy, we'll probably try and get them quite quick. Not Augusta quick or anything, but quick by our standards, maybe 11 feet.
I was going to say, when you said they're 11.5, I was wondering if they heard that and were like, whoa, Graeme, pull back a little bit, buddy.
Yeah. But I suppose 11.5 for us, if the wind gets up, the likes of our 5th green balls would be blowing out of bounds.
Oh boy!
Right?
You'd stop on the green, and then we've had that before, where balls have kind of blown off the back of the green and gone out of bounds. So
yeah, guys would be happy about that.
Yeah.
Well, and that's I think that's a tough thing, because no one wants to be known for that, right? I mean, you've got to be protecting against scenarios like that where the wind starts gusting and you're not prepared for it, and the next thing you know, you've got balls in the putting greens blowing out of bounds. So that's.
I think for tournament organizers as well, if they have to stop the tournament because of wind, that's a disaster for TV broadcasters and everything as well. So that's a kind of a big no-no, really. So we'd be guided by whatever green speeds that they're looking for.
So, Graeme, how about your role? Like, you're obviously a very busy man with the 2 courses all year round. Come championship time, do you find you kind of take a bit of a step back and lean on the other people around you?
Yeah, to a point. I suppose the last Open I was kind of involved in everything, and I was involved in a lot of the organization for housing for the volunteers and meals and everything, really. And this time I'm going to try and just use my time a little bit better. And the RNA have a project manager for all of that sort of stuff now, so that's been a huge help for me, and that's taken a lot of pressure off and saved a lot of my time, and I can spend it on different things that I feel are kind of more important. So that's been a big help. But yeah, I think I suppose all the different areas of the turf maintenance through the Open will be split up into different people in our team. So they'll be sort of team leaders as such for each different area. So that'll be helpful too.
Do you get to sit back and enjoy it at all? With your previous championship experiences, have you been able to kind of take a step back, look around, soak it all in, and pinch yourself?
A little bit. Maybe, during the event, the last time I would meet my wife and kids for an hour or 2 each day, and that was nice. I love the morning setup, when there's no one around and the scoreboards are all lit up, and then you can sort of hear the crowds in the morning when people are starting to tee off and maybe holing putts on the first, and we're at the other end of the course. That's really nice.
Hey, this is Michael with Standard Golf Company. Standard Golf has been manufacturing top quality golf course tools, equipment, and accessories right here in Iowa for over a century. From hole cutters and bunker rakes to flags, tee markers, flag sticks, and our innovative green activator, we supply the world's top distributors, proudly made here in the USA. Trusted by golf course accessories all over the world, Standard Golf continues to be the superintendent's best friend by providing specs for the golf course that will turn an eye. Standard Golf, where innovation meets excellence. Now let's get you right back to Turf Today.
Graeme, talk about like how does maintenance there compare to, you know, other things that you've seen? You mentioned the green speeds obviously aren't going to be what they are at Augusta and stuff like that. What are maybe some of the other similarities and differences as far as maintaining Royal Portrush versus, you know, what people might see elsewhere?
Well, I suppose mowing heights is a big thing. The grass is obviously different cultivars and different species. We're hoping we'll be able to dry it down and sort of get it pretty fast and bouncy. The last Open we weren't able to do that. We got loads of rain the week before and lots of rain through the event, so it'd be quite nice if we can dry it down. I suppose in terms of turf challenges, we have far less than you'd maybe have in a warmer climate. We don't spray very much. We would obviously spray a wetting agent with some fertilizer, and we'd spray a few fungicides throughout the year, maybe three or four applications, one insecticide, and we'd spray 2 selective weed killers, and that's it. We'd spray a little bit of growth regulator on the greens. We'd normally put that in with the feed, but I know working at Royal Melbourne, you know, leading up to the tournament, they were spraying every day. Different insecticides, different fungicides, and it's so different that way. But I think the general sort of practices to get that sort of final polish, you know, for an event, I think that's pretty similar. So yeah, I think I don't really know. I think what we do is probably, in some ways, it's easier than what we maybe doing in the States. In some ways, but I suppose for us, getting through the winter is probably the hardest thing. Our winter, like our grass would be pretty dormant from the start of November until sometimes middle of May. It's a pretty long winter. And if you go into that kind of week, then you're going to struggle. So that's kind of pretty important time for us. But yeah, playing season, it's sort of general mowing and all that sort of stuff.
So I'm completely oblivious to kind of some of the subsurface stuff over there and links courses. I mean, I'm assuming very sandy soils, but what's your like subsurface drainage and stuff like that? Do you have zero? Is it all surface drained or
zero? Yeah, we don't have drainage. The only place we have drainage is the lowest piece of land in the whole property. And sometimes in the winter you would get some water table issues there. And there's a pond over in the dunes, and we sort of put a couple of gravel drains into that pond just to get the water moving a little bit quicker. That's the only drainage we have anywhere.
Love it.
The course will take a lot of rain before it starts to puddle.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah, we just our sand's quite a rounded particle. It drains really well. The particle size is really even. It's sort of medium to medium fine. So because of the porosity of it, it drains really well. But then because of the rounded nature of the particle, it's hard to get the greens, say, as firm as maybe St Andrews or Carnoustie. If we get a little bit of a dry spell with the Clegg hammer, the tool, the instrument we use or used, we would probably be getting about 130 gravities, whereas St Andrews might get 150. But it's just the different nature of the sand.
Yeah. Is that native? Is it native sand?
Yeah. all native sand and native top dressing as well.
Wow.
Interesting.
Yeah, we've just switched to the GS3.
Yeah.
The ball and the dropper. So we've only had it for a week or two, so we're sort of still getting used to that.
What are you seeing as your differences? Are you seeing the numbers? I mean, because obviously I think there's some calibrating that comes with switching. I was always used to the ball and chain, and I think the GS3 shows, maybe like 0.25 higher or something like that, or 0.025 or whatever it is. What are you seeing as far as differences now that you've kind of made that switch to GS3?
So for the dropper, I'm not sure that it's just quite perfect yet.
Yeah.
The
numbers are
calibration
different
between the two.
Yeah, right.
So we've had the last sort of 5 days it has been pouring rain, and I think we were getting 0.2 something as a drop, and then we were up to 0.38 there. Whatever that means, but I did look at I did look at the calibration that said that we were getting like 110 or 110 gravities or 108 gravities or something. I thought should be more than that, but don't know. But it does simplify the whole process. The ball roll and stuff is absolutely brilliant. So kind of looking forward to getting used to it and sort of knowing what the numbers mean.
It's a lot of trial and error, it's a lot of trial and error, figuring it all out.
Technology is amazing though. And yeah, for a lot of the techie stuff, I've got one or two guys on my team that are really good at that sort of thing. So it's always useful. It's good.
Beautiful. Well, when it comes to, finding things on the course and working on different things on the course, we had a few people write in asking you about playing the course, a course with, that kind of pedigree. Do you get a chance to play it? Do you like playing it? Do you believe in playing your own course to be able to find that sort of stuff?
Yeah. Yeah, I would try and play it quite regularly. I actually play the Valley more often than I play Dunluce. But I do enjoy getting out and playing the golf course, and you always see something that you maybe wouldn't have seen if you were just driving around on your cart.
Oh, yeah.
So I do find that pretty useful. And then even just getting a feel for the golf course and, feeling like you know how it's playing at the time is good, rather than just, rolling a ball over a green when you're out, kind of looking at the turf. So yeah, I would play fairly regularly. I'd try and get out most weeks.
When you're in tournament mode, are you out walking the golf course? Do you go one tee through 18 green and kind of walk it to do quality control and get a feel as you're out there? What's your routine like during tournament time?
During the tournament, yeah, I'd be kind of all over the golf course every morning, and then evening as well, kind of going around with the greens mores and checking the speeds and seeing what the greens are rolling like. Even the surrounds. It's funny. Years ago, you wouldn't have really bothered so much, but you want to see how they're rolling as well, and make sure the runoffs are kind of dramatic and the ball's actually getting off the green in a way. I don't know, maybe it's a greenkeeper thing. It's quite exciting just seeing a ball trickling off a green and then ending up 30 yards away.
They like to punch the guys, huh? Are you out there? Are you out there stimping your collars and your approaches and everything to see what those things are running?
Yeah.
I love it. So what are some of the things? I mean, I think, Royal Melbourne's, I don't think it's considered linksy, but I mean, it's definitely got that firm, fast feel to it with fairways running into bunkers and stuff like that. What have you learned from, or what did you learn from Royal Melbourne or County Sligo with some of those other places you've been that you've been able to implement here at Royal Portrush?
Royal Melbourne, the thing that struck me, which sounds stupid, was the bunkers. I just thought the bunkering was absolutely amazing. And then some of the greens are sort of mowing right out to the top edge of the bunkers, and you maybe have a real clean edge around the bunker on the green edge, but then like um, sort of heather and all this kind of rough grass and scrub around the other edges, and um, the greens are really firm again, good sort of runoffs, and really penal where there are bunkers around the edge of the green and stuff. I suppose from a presentation point of view, the bunkers were really something that stood out to me. Say, it probably sounds strange that that's the sort of lasting memory, but I just
Not
thought it
at
was
all. I think those are some of the most unique bunkers. I mean, I've never been there in person, but I think the photos I've seen, that's by far one of the things that stands out most to you
yeah,
looking at pictures. They're beautiful.
yeah. I thought like you'd have real sort of clean edges, but also the course kind of blends in well with the nature around it. Um, so yeah, I thought Royal Melbourne was really impressive. Um, and then Kings Barnes, obviously, the presentation point of view, that was a big thing there as well. That was really my first experience of it. My first golf course was a really nice course, but it wasn't kind of set up for a lot of visitors and things and guests, whereas Kings Barnes was obviously that's all about that. So presentation was really key there, and then seeing Royal Melbourne, and then taking that to Sligo and trying to implement some of that there with a smaller team. Um, I think it's just a really good learning process. I think, and I've done quite a lot of construction over the years, so bringing that to Royal Portrush was quite good, and having that experience of that already when I started in Royal Portrush was probably pretty helpful, really. Um, I think if you haven't experienced that before, and then seeing diggers everywhere and dumpers everywhere, and it's yeah, a bit of a shock to the system, I think.
Yeah, it kind of totally changes your perspective on what's actually going on the golf course, right? You're not just cutting grass.
We remained open the whole time.
Well, good for you guys. It's hard to
Oh
do.
gosh, oh, it's a nightmare. Uh, and we sold out all our tea times, and trying to do that work while still having a good golf course to play is difficult. Um, so this time was easier in that sense. We did do quite a bit of construction. We just built a new front line for the valley. So as part of the changes that we made to Dunluce, the knock-on effect kind of stretched out into the valley because we built a new driving range, and that became much bigger. And then we ended up sort of pushing forward a project that we had planned for the valley in a few years' time. So we ended up building a new front line last year. So it's been quite a busy 18 months.
And now it's time for another installment of Ask the Agronomist, presented by the Andersons.
Okay, we are back with PhD agronomist Ben Pease from the Andersons. Our question today comes in from Calvin Henry. What is a small daily task that makes a big difference on the course experience?
Good question, Calvin. When we saw this one come in, I said we're going to address that one because it brings me back to my initial days on a golf course. So 20 years ago when I was an intern, this was at Wayzata Country Club in the Twin Cities of Minneapolis, St. Paul, Minnesota. Yeah, the superintendent there was Bob Distel at the time. And as an intern, one of your daily tasks was tee service. So there was two of us, each of us would take a 9. And I remember the first few days when you saw this list of what you had to do, and I thought, there's no way you can get this done before all the golfers come through. But eventually you develop a rhythm and you pick up all these little ins and outs of doing tee service, and there is a lot of little ins and out details that make up, the experience for the golfer. So we're usually focused on thoughts about focusing on fairways or greens and improving those things, but golfers spend a lot of time on the tees. So as a group, they're standing there talking. When the other guy is hitting, the other three are discussing things. So this is a time when they're picking up details and they're looking at the course and thinking about the last hole. So details matter on tee service. So a few things that Bob taught me that I still think about when I play golf every time is we would always pick up as many broken tees as our time would allow. Seems kind of silly, but a broken tee laying on a tee surface isn't visually appealing. It could also damage the reel mowers. So we're thinking about our mechanics and our equipment with this task, but we're also thinking about the customer. We also would make sure that our tee blocks or tee markers were aligned for like the proper approach down the fairway. So you'd always have this one guy who would tilt them off a little to the left or the right, and we'd want to make sure that no, we got to get these straight down the middle of the fairway, even if it's a dog leg left or dog leg right. We'd set it right down the fairway as if they were going to lay up at the bend, not try to cut a corner or something. So, setting up your tee markers, tee blocks in a consistent manner was a really big tee service detail. And then something I learned when I went to the straights, the Whistling Straights, was providing pin sheets. So every day there was a certain location based upon a number, front, middle, back, left, right, middle, and each one of those, there was, I don't know, 9 or 12 different areas where we would set a pin, and they were stepped off. So the golfers and the caddies knew exactly this many steps forward, this many steps left or right, and they could really plan their approach shots much better. So that not technically a tee service detail, but a golf service detail that I picked up and have always thought about ever since. So good question there, Calvin. Appreciate the walk down memory lane, but a lot of good details picked up from my early days as an intern and an early assistant.
I gotta say, one of my least favorite things on the course is when the tee blocks are not lined up. It just visually just does not do it. And I mean, you can figure out your own line from the tee, but yeah, it just visually does not do it when you're driving by. It's kind of like a slanted pin on the green, right? A straight pin is just a chef's kiss.
That's right. And then if there's multiple tee blocks or markers sets on one tee, getting those to all line up was always a pet peeve. Like, oh, we got to have these same width and line them all up. And it does have a really good kind of appearance to it if you get that right.
Yeah, great job for somebody with a lot of attention to detail.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thanks a lot, Ben. This wraps up another Ask the Agronomist segment featuring Dr. Ben Pease, presented by the Andersons. You talk about all that experience you gather from different courses and different projects and things. Talk to us a little bit about some of the mentors that you've learned from, because, as we've seen in this industry, for most of the people we talk to, you can't really get very far unless you have good people showing you the way.
Yeah, I think I've probably been quite lucky to work under some good people who I suppose have been quite detailed in what they wanted, and then passed that on to us working there at the time. Say Kings Barnes was my first sort of experience of that, and I had Stuart McComb, who's now at, I think it's Cabo Highlands now. It was Castle Stuart. He's there, and Innes Knight was his deputy at the time. He's course manager at Kings Barnes now. And then I worked for Jim Porter in Australia, in Royal Melbourne. And then kind of, I suppose I've done my own thing after that, but made some really good friends, and sort of I like going to seeing other golf courses as well and seeing how other people are doing things, and I suppose just chatting to other people in the industry as well, and you're always learning. So it's a good industry that way. It is quite close knit, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah, I'd love for you to expand upon that. I mean, how much do you rely on your mentors and your peers with what you do?
Usually if I'm chatting to people, it's just chatting about normal stuff like your issues and their issues and all that sort of thing. But I kind of like doing my own thing as well, I think. But obviously having that good relationship with the RNA and their agronomy people, and they're always visiting other courses, and they can sort of pass on bits and pieces as well. Maybe someone's found a new product or someone's doing something a wee bit different. So I think you're always kind of picking things up that way. But we're always trying to improve on what we do as well at the same time.
You're going to have a bunch of those mentors and a bunch of your buddies come over and be part of like the the VIP entourage and kind of walk around with you during tournaments?
I did a little bit of that the last time. I've got quite a few industry friends coming to work. Um, Actually, one of the guys I worked with in Melbourne, like 2004, guy Duncan Sealing, he's coming over from England, so that'll be nice to work with him again. And then I've got a few other friends from Scotland and England coming, a few guys from Australia and places. So yeah, got quite a broad range of different people. So
Nice.
some sort of superintendents, some assistants, and some people that are more new to the job. So be quite a nice mixture of people, I think.
How rewarding is it for you to be able to share this experience with those people?
Oh, it's amazing, and even some of our team that we have at the moment, they haven't worked an open at Royal Portrush before. I think there's about 11 people on our team that haven't done an open at Royal Portrush. So most of those people have been away and done a tournament somewhere else and just got that experience to then, know what's coming this year. So that'll be good. But seeing for them to experience that as well, I think is going to be amazing. And then on the Sunday, with the presentation and stuff, it's a real sort of moment of pride for everyone, I think. And that was one of my favorite bits last time, just, knowing that it was done and it was a success and hearing the crowds and everything. And our guys are all there. I thought that was really, really nice.
Shane Lowry winning that must have been really cool too. That makes it special.
Yeah, it's so cool. And the golf he played, like, he deserved to win it. He played the best golf, and some of the shots he hit in like high winds and rain and everything, he was just absolutely amazing. But yeah, having like a local winner is amazing. Really, couldn't have written it.
One of the most incredible celebrations too. I mean, that guy did it right. Did you get an opportunity to drink out of the claret jug then when he was out and about in town after the win?
No, well, he got his picture taken with all the greenkeepers. I was supposed to go to like a drinks reception with the members and Shane Lowry, but I ended up, I went back up to the sheds to lock up and did all that sort of stuff. And then I got stuck in the crowds trying to get out of my car, and it took me like 45 minutes to get out, so I missed it in the end.
Oh
Um,
no.
and then I think
Man.
he went from Portrush, he went straight to Dublin. He must have had a lot of friends down there, and then yeah, I'd say he had quite a few pints of Guinness probably.
Oh yeah, it's intense.
Epic celebration
Deserved
for sure. For sure.
We got you for another 10 minutes here, Graham. We figured we'd have a little bit of fun. You sent us some great stories from your past here on the course. I wanted to start with your turf dog stealing some food on the course.
Yeah, so my dog, she's a beagle. She kind of comes with me pretty much every day. All the members know her. All the greenkeepers feed her, and yeah, her whole life is just about food. She, she goes to the pro shop twice a day, and then she's got this little. Our pro calls it the pre-shot routine. She sits, paw, bark, and then she gets her treat. But yeah, she's so obsessed with food. And then last year we were setting up. It was middle of summer. We were setting up early morning, and we were on the first green. We were changing the holes and doing a bit of testing on the greens, and then Bella came sort of up the approach and round the edge of the green, not too close to us because she had a sandwich in her mouth. And she just trotted off into the rough, like she's got food buried all over the golf course, hidden in the grass. And didn't really think much of it because it's kind of normal. And then we heard there was this really big argument between two of the greenkeepers. And one of them had blamed the other for eating his sandwich. I was just like, just say nothing. So yeah, she's had a few moments like that. She came. I don't know if you know Calamity, our sort of famous par three. We were on that green one day, and she disappeared off the back of the green. I was like, "Where's Bella gone?" Whistled for her, and then she appeared with this sausage sticking out of her mouth, just like a big Cuban cigar. She must have had it buried in the grass.
Oh my
It's just
gosh.
unbelievable.
I want to hear about the burning of the gorse. Sounds like you got a close call there too, or one of your team
Yeah,
members.
yeah. King's Barnes, we used to spend quite a bit of the winter time just cutting back gorse. But we had this big maintenance track down the side of the 14th and behind the dunes, and I kind of drove around the corner one day, and there's a huge pile of gorse at the end of the road, and I could see somebody in the distance, and kind of the closer I got, I saw them leaning forward, and we always would have got a little bit of diesel and a bit of petrol, and kind of squirted it over the gorse, and then lit it just to get it going. But he must have got the ratio really wrong, because all I could see was him leaning forward. And the guy, he always wore a cap, but he had these really big ginger sideburns. Uh, and he leans over, and then the next thing he was this fireball. he just appeared out of the flames. And he's just standing there, and I got up to him, and all his sideburns were just singed. Everything was gone. His eyebrows were gone, and he was fine. But yeah, that was pretty funny. He
Oh,
wasn't hurt.
yeah, that's a mistake he's never making again. Huh?
I don't know. He might have done.
Oh, the funny things you roll up on when the staff are by themselves sometimes. That's so funny. What
Yeah,
about the staff member who was cutting greens or supposedly cutting greens?
I think I was cutting greens as well. I was on the eighth on King's Barnes. It's a par three, and it plays sort of down a steep hill. And this guy had pulled up at the side of the road, and he was chatting to me, and I said, "Oh, what are you doing this morning?" He said, "Oh, I was cutting the greens at the far end." And I said, "Where's your mower?" And he was like, this panicked look on his face, and he looked behind him, and I said, "What are you doing?" And he said, "My trailer, it's gone." So we had to go searching for his trailer. It must have come off when he was driving up the hill, and it was like away 20 yards into the trees at the bottom of the hill, and the
That's
mower's still
awesome.
on the trailer. But
What's the punishment for when someone like runs out of gas or loses a trailer? They have to bring in like donuts or buy lunch for anybody, or what's
I think he
what's the
was
walk of
terrified.
shame?
I had to keep it quiet. That's, everyone knows now, but
Oh yeah,
yeah,
until
I don't
today.
think I told anyone.
Oh, that's funny. Well, it sounds like you guys have a lot of fun over there. 30 people would be a really good fun size for a crew. So there must be a lot of fun at the shop. Is there anything you guys do? I know you said you do barbecues. Is there anything you kind of do to keep the morale up and keep the staff going all year?
Yeah,
That sort of
sometimes
thing.
sometimes on a Friday we would head down to Rathmore, which is well, we've got three golf clubs at Royal Portrush. So there's the main Royal Portrush. There's ladies have their own clubhouse, but they use both. And then there's Rathmore. So sometimes on a Friday we'd head down to Rathmore, have a putting competition, have a few beers, and then sometimes the younger guys would head off into town, and everyone else would
Yeah,
just head home.
that's right.
No, that's quite good fun. Yeah, sometimes we do that. It's a real sun trap down there as well. It's usually quite warm in the summer.
There you go. I wanted to ask one final question that came from the community. I think it's kind of a cool one, especially for somebody who's running the golf course. For the Open Championship, if you could add one hole from any other golf course in the world to that course for the championship, what would it be?
Oh, uh, postage stamp from Troon.
Mm.
Yeah, cool.
It's just like such a sadistic little hole. It's like 125 yards or something. But our agronomist, Richard Windows, that's his local course. He's a member at Royal Troon. And they have this rule on a Sunday that you have to play out. You can't pick up. Um,
Oh no.
this this lawyer that he was playing with, he said he's not the worst golfer. He plays off 18 or something. He said he took 38 shots.
Oh no.
Oh man.
Would you shoot a 38 on one hole?
Yeah. And everyone that goes out on the Sunday plays the same game. So he was telling me that they could see him from 4 or 5 holes. So everyone was watching this guy just go from
boy.
bunker to bunker to bunker, and then into his own footprints. And it's just yeah, postage stamp would be pretty cool.
It's a great
boy.
answer. I like
I
that.
wouldn't want to be in the group behind him, sitting there waiting on that tee, watching
No
that happen. Be a little intimidated after that.
Yeah, I think it was pretty entertaining for everyone else.
Oh goodness! Before we let you run here, is there anything else you wanted to talk about here in your episode?
I suppose we're using a lot of the electric Toro equipment. So we've had a big drive on sustainability. So we've kind of installed a lot of solar panels around the site, all over the greenkeeper sheds, and that powers all our lithium equipment. So that's been a big success for us. And like the triplexes, the 3370s, it's probably the only machine I've ever bought that no one's complained about. People are usually pretty quick to tell you they don't like this or they don't like that. But no, everyone loves that piece of equipment. So that's been a good thing for us.
Nice. And you get enough sunlight to power those solar panels, huh?
Usually. If you've got enough panels,
Yeah,
a little bit of sunlight.
That's awesome.
Well, we can't thank you enough for doing this, Graeme. This has been
thank you.
fantastic. Our community's been really excited about this one, especially with us taking last week off. People are going to be chomping at the bit to get into this one Tuesday. So, like I said, we can't thank you enough. And if anything comes up between now and then, just let us know.
Thanks, Adam. Thanks, Brian.
Yeah, Graeme, thank you so much, and best wishes for you here with the Open Championship. It's gonna be a great one.
Thank you. I hope so. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, we can't wait to watch.
Yeah, we won't be making the trip this year, but we can't wait to watch it on TV. That'll be beautiful.
Yeah, hopefully.
I'll have to make a trip over there one year, though, Brian. Definitely gonna have to do that. Oh yeah,
Your clubs.
It's on the list.
It's on the list. Yeah.
There we go. There we go. Everyone heard it. Everyone heard it.
We got the invite.
I love it.
Yep.
Awesome, Graeme. Well, hey, thanks again. Appreciate it. And like I said, look forward to watching on TV. We'll be rooting for you from afar here.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
All right, man. Take care.
Take care. Thank
Have
you.
a good one, Graeme. Thank you so much.
You too. Bye.
Great episode.
Yeah, that was really cool to hear from him.
Yeah, absolutely. Great guy. So great experience. Fun to hear about some of the differences over there. I mean, that's like I said, I'm just totally oblivious. I mean, I figured with a link style golf course, subsurface drainage wasn't a huge thing, but I just, it's one of those things I don't really think about. I'm so used to it over here in the States.
Mm-hmm.
So just the fact that, their perk rates are so high, they don't have to worry about it with the type of sand they have. And, you see a lot of those golf courses, they get a lot of rain, but just the fact how quickly it gets through that, those sandy soils, it's impressive to see how dry they can get.
And they talk about not spraying a lot over there. I know we mentioned to the Andersons guys that we were doing the interview with Graeme, and they said they have connections and they sell products and stuff to the courses over there, but it's just not the same. The States, there's just so much more stuff going down, so many more products used and purchased and all that. So it's a little bit different ball game. Sustainability is huge for them over there, and
it's just different expectations, right? The home of golf. I mean, the game was started with firm, fast conditions. The ball bounces. You get unexpected, kicks here and there, and here obviously they like it a little greener, a little wetter, and just different expectations and different thoughts on the strategy and just the game itself. So that's why it's so much fun that we have the opportunity to talk to people from all over the world and hear about it.
Yeah, and hear about all the differences. Anybody I've had that's gone over to play over there or see tournaments over there, they say it's so different, right? Especially with the weather, right? Like it's just such a factor. So
absolutely.
we got to make our way over there. Check that one out.
Check
back. There's so many different tracks over there that we could go and see and visit and maybe play a couple. You never know.
Got to spend an entire year over there just traveling around, visiting different places. So
we
might have to do that when the kids are out of school.
That's a good idea. Good idea.
I was appreciative of the fact when he was talking about some of the course changes, he was talking in yards. That was very helpful for me.
That is very helpful. That is very helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even though I'm outnumbered there with meters guys, it was helpful for me
Yeah,
talking
but
hearing
but here
yards.
here in Canada we do yards too. So when
Oh,
you
do you?
say
Okay.
when you say okay, something's 100 meters, I think dash. But if you say 100
Yeah.
yards, like that's it's a 58-degree wedge for me, so I can kind of gauge that a little bit better. So
Yeah.
that's a really good question. I was thinking about that the other day because again, oblivious to this, never been over there.
Yeah.
Are there scorecards and courses laid out in meters?
The way I gauge that is like if I watch any of like the DP World Tour or something like that, a lot of times they have it both ways.
They
They'll
show
say
both.
it's
Okay.
however many meters, however many yards. They show it. They show both. So I don't know. I would just assume maybe it's meters at some of or the majority of the courses overseas, but I don't know. I
Yeah,
don't
it's
know.
a good one. If
I've
you
never
guys
played
know,
over there, so I don't
no,
know.
exactly. It's just
Yeah.
not something you think about. But like the scorecard at St. Andrews, are the holes in yards or are they in meters?
Yeah, I don't know. Someone get back to us.
Yeah, somebody let us know. I'm sure Andy would probably be all over that. Andy Grow, he'd
Oh
probably
yeah.
jump all over that one.
Yeah,
Mr. St.
absolutely.
Andrews.
Absolutely.
Awesome. So Memorial just ended. You are off to your next spot before going to Oakmont.
Yep. So this when this comes out on Tuesday, I'll probably be on a flight to Palm Springs.
Nice.
Palm Springs for a few days, home on Friday, Saturday, Sunday in Cincinnati for lacrosse. When that ends on Sunday, whatever time, drive straight over to Oakmont for the week.
Sweet. Beautiful.
Yeah. And
Busy
then I don't
time.
know.
Busy time. And I just got approved for RBC Canadian Open. So you're listening to this on the Tuesday.
Beautiful.
I'm going to be there tomorrow for the Wednesday. This is the Pro-Am, but I'm not going to be shooting any of the players. I'm coming for the real show.
That's
The
right.
real guys.
That's right.
Real guys and girls. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
it's going to be a lot of fun. And please come up to me, reach out, come and say hi. I'm bringing some stickers and some fun stuff for everybody. It's going to be great. I've been to a couple of the Opens, but or some of the Canadian Opens, and getting to actually be behind the scenes and film some of it and meet some people. Hopefully get a couple interviews. Should be really good. Really fun.
I'm assuming you're going to run to the world's guest there, Mr. Prier, huh?
He will be there. He will be there. Yeah, he's been keeping me updated on his schedule. Beautiful.
2:00 shotgun this afternoon.
Sweet.
Yeah, a bunch of Toro guys are in town, Harold's guys, all that fun stuff.
Nice,
So,
dude. That's awesome.
yeah, crank out some videos and then go play some golf. It's going to be
You
ugly.
played golf in a while? No?
Yeah, I played Cyprus 2 weeks ago.
Sweet.
Yeah, so that was
Hitting
the
them well?
last time. No, like crap, but it's okay. When you're at Cyprus, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. You're just there. Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. So, but no, yeah. Today the goal is half swings.
Half swings. There you go.
That's it.
Nice.
That's
Just keep it in play.
Just try and control it. So
Nice.
well, try and stay out of the bunkers.
Yeah, that's important.
Yeah. All right, dude. Well, I gotta go.
Yeah.
I gotta go get Ethan. So good luck. Have fun. We'll talk soon.
All right, buddy.
All right, man. Take
care. That's going to do it for us. Another one in the books, another fantastic conversation. And if you noticed the intro and a little bit of the outro, we got Beats by Wooga on it, going over a few of the old intros over the next couple episodes leading into number 100, where we feature our new intro, new music for the podcast. Best of luck to Brian while he's traveling. Thank you so much to Graeme Beatt for making the time for us. And thank you so much to all of our sponsors who help us with everything going on the show, behind the scenes on Turf Today and the Superintendent Network. Best of luck this week to everybody working. All of the tournaments coming up right now. It's a busy season. Keep on the grind and keep helping out your fellow greenkeeper. We'll chat soon. Keep those reels sharp. Everybody have a great week.